Hello everyone, welcome to Learn Overflow. In this video, we will discuss about another LeetCode problem, that is candy. This is a hard level LeetCode problem, but it's really a good question. We'll understand how to what this question is actually asking from us and how we can solve this question to find a good solution or a solution to this question. Okay. Also, we'll understand what should be our thinking process behind solving this kind of questions. How we can think of questions like this whenever we get questions like this. So we'll understand that as well. So before that, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, make sure to subscribe to our channel for regular LeetCode videos. Also, you can find the link to this exact question in the description. Along with that, you will find the code that I will ultimately come up over here. Like whatever code we'll write, you will find the exact code and a bit explanation on that too in the description as well. So make sure you check that out. So it says like there are n children, okay, and standing in a line. So all of them are standing in a line, and each children is assigned a rating value given in the integer array rating. Okay, so we are given with an integer array rating. So this rating contains the rating value of n number of children. Okay, so it says you are given candies to you are giving candies to these children subjected to the following requirement. Okay, you are giving candies and there are some requirements while giving candies to them. What are those? Each children must have at least one candy. Okay, so we must need give them at least one candy. It cannot be like any children is not getting our candy, so we must give them one candy. Addition to that, what it says, a children with a higher rating get more candies than their neighbors. Okay, so if any of the children have a higher rating, then he gets more candies than his neighbors. Like whatever his others are standing behind them, if he is having a higher rating than his neighbors, then he will be getting more candies than his neighbors. Okay. At last, return the minimum number of candies you need to have to distribute the candies to the children. So at the end, we need to find out what the minimum number of candies we should need in order to distribute them to the children, keeping in mind about these conditions that each children must have at least one candy. So by default, with this statement, we know that there must be n candies requirement plus something more is also the requirement. Okay. Further, if any of the children having a higher rating, then we should give them more candies than his neighbors. Okay, so let's try to understand this question and let's find out what the examples are giving to us or telling us any hints or not. So as an example, you can see there is a rating array of 1, 0, and 2. So that means that there are three children, and the first children have a rating of 1, the second children has a rating of 0, and the third children has a rating of 2. So how it will go? It will go like yeah, you have to assign them one each. So the person which is the lowest rating will get the one candy, okay, and then the next like this person one you have having the like more candies will have more candies than his neighbors based on this particular formula, like a particular condition we have. So how many candies will he have? He will have like two candies, like that makes him getting more candies than his neighbors. And the person with rating 2 will get how many? You might think that he has a higher rating, so he should get 3 candies, but that's not the question is asking us. The question is saying more candies than their neighbors. So how many candies his neighbors have? His neighbors is one candy, so give them 2 candy. So thus he is getting more candies than his neighbors. So ultimately 2 and 2 is the 5 is the answer you get over here. Okay. Following that, look over here. You got another array like 1, 2, and 2. Okay, fine. And then what else? We find that first person should get one candy. That is the minimum number of candies. Like first person, we assign them one candy. Now after that, we find the next person to be greater than that. So next person is 2. So he is having more like rating than his neighbors. So we assign them 2 chocolates. Fine. Following that, we again find another person standing whose neighbors is like also 2. Okay, so now how we'll assign them a candy? See, the question clearly says the children with higher rating get more candies than their neighbor. Okay, but it is never said if they are having equal rating, how many candies we should give them. So there is no condition based on that. So you can simply give them one candy. Why so? One candy is the minimum number of candy you should give them, like at least one candy. And you find that the this particular person is having same rating as his neighbors. Okay, so what, he has the same rating, he is not having a higher rating. So if he is not having a higher rating, then what should be our idea? Our idea should be, we give them one candy. We're not bothered with that, like there is no condition with that, like if the children have a same rating as their neighbors. There is no condition for that, so give them one candy, and that is why we find an answer of 4. Like the third child gets one candy because it satisfied the above two condition. Above two conditions are satisfied, and it's nowhere is written that it's like equal rating is a condition for us, right? So we can assign them 1. Let's take another example. Say let's take this as our example again, 101 1 0 and then 2. Then how we look into this? We will start like we cannot start with the 0 like what I did initially. We cannot start with the 0 with the element whose value is whose rating is less. That's not possible. So how will we go with this? We will start with like the first element of here, assign them one candy. Okay, then we find the next person has don't have a rating greater than 1, right? So if the next person don't have a rating greater than his neighbors, then what? Just assign them one candy. That's the max you can give them, right? And then look for the next person. Next person is having a higher rating, so assign them one more candy, right? 2 candies. And think this is not a correct answer. Why so? Because we need to look for neighbors, and we only look for left neighbor, the neighbor on their left. So just do the reverse ones on this particular array. Start with this value. This value is 2 because his neighbor is 0. Like we cannot change this value. Next, come to 0. Fine. We find like the neighbor on the right side is like greater than him, so we keep it as it is. And then we find come to 1. We find the neighbor on the right side. Now we are checking for the right neighbor. Okay, the next case. So neighbor on the right case is like less than him. So that means this person is having a higher value. So we should make sure that he is not getting equal number of candies that is neighbor. So we should make this 2, right? So in that way, we actually figured out our answer should be 2 1 2. It's more like what I mean exactly. We start from the leftmost element, okay? Like whatever. If I just say there's 3 and there's 1 and there's 2, okay? Just take this example. We start by giving 1 candy to the first person, and then we see the next person is less than him. We give them exactly 1 candy because like he is less than him, so there is no condition for that, less than or equal to condition, right? And then we find the other person, the third person we come across, his neighbor is 1, like left neighbor is 1. So once his left neighbor is 1, we find that we need to give them one more candy because he is like greater to them. He's like having a higher rating than his neighbors. Okay, now we need to traverse back in the reverse order. Why? Just to find out, we are looking for the left neighbors. Now check for the right neighbors to see if there's any other answer to that. Well, as always, we know that this is the last element and we cannot do anything because on his right there's no one. So we just start with 2. Okay. Then we find 1. We find that he is having a like his right neighbor is 2. Whose right neighbor is 2 is less than him, so there's no need to increment it, right? We keep it as it is. And then we find 3. We find this 3 right number is 1, which is less than him. That means this person is having a higher rating than his right neighbor. So that means we need to have we need to make sure that this cannot be equal, right? So we just need to increment the number of candies we have. So this is the internal story, like internal thought process, how we can come up to this answer, because you need to check for neighbors, and neighbors cannot be like only in one direction. So in that case, what you need to see, you need to just check for both the direction the correct neighbors, right? On both the direction, the neighbors should be like more, right? It cannot be like you are only looking for the left hand neighbors, you need to check for the right hand neighbors. So for that, just run a loop from left hand to right hand, and in the reverse order again. In that case, you will find all the neighbors being the left hand neighbor and the right hand neighbor, and then you can ultimately come up to a solution for this kind of questions. Okay, so that's the basic idea behind this question. Let's try to write some code, and then I will again explain you how this particular question exactly works. Okay, I hope this till now it is understandable how you should approach this. But now let's write me the code and find out like explain again with seeing through the code how we can implement that part. Okay. Okay, so we find that this question it runs in a 3ms solution. Now let's try to understand what exactly the approach for this question of what exactly we did in our solution. Okay, let's understand that. First, as usual, we took our candies array. Like this is an array to store like how many candies we are giving out to each of the like each person's. Okay. Next, we took the first element with the one. Like we as we were looking at that, like whenever we had this 101, like this 10 and then one, right? So in that case, what we were doing, we were simply giving the first element, the one candy initially, and then we look for the next person. Okay, so we are doing that thing. So we just give one candy initially to our person we have. Okay, so that's the one candy we gave initially, and then we ran a loop from our starting values. Like the one position, that is the second value we have over here, until the length of the array. Okay, and then we just check that if the rating is greater than rating of I minus, if our current rating is greater than our previous rating, right? And that is on the left hand side. So it just says like if it has a higher rating, get more candies. So if it's having a higher rating, then the previous rating, like the previous, we gave the number of chocolate to our previous person, add some chocolates, like add one chocolate to him and give it to our current children. Okay. Now, one thing may happen, that is in the case where there is equal. Okay, while there is equal or while there is less values. So if there is equal or less values, in that case, this condition won't go on. So by default, if you know that the integer arrays in Java, the integer array when you create, the default values it has is 0. So once we know that this condition didn't work out, that means the current value is not greater than the previous value. It can be equal to the previous value or it can be less than the previous value. So if that is the condition, we just make it as 1. So we just give them as 1. So if that is the condition, we look for like if they have 0, the candies of I is 0. Like currently it doesn't got any candies. That's what we know here over here, right? So in that case, we just make it as 1. Now, what else? We got our answer, like an answer variable. This answer variable, like after our first run, we know that the last element, like the last element is something we got our maximum value, because for the last element there is only the left element that we need to check, right? We don't need to check the right element, because on the right element there's nothing there. So once we start checking our right element over here, we are sure that the last element won't make any difference to our answer. So we just created an answer variable. So this will be the variable which we are returning over here, like the final return answer. So we just stored our last element, like the last person who got, like how many candies that person got, we stored it in our answer variable. Okay, and then we started reverse loop, ratings of length minus 2 till 0. Okay, from this position till 0, and then we went on checking if ratings of I is greater than ratings of I plus 1. That means at this position rating is greater than ratings of I plus 1 on its right hand side. Perfectly meaning on its right hand side. Then what do we need to do? We need to check here. We cannot do simply like add 1 to the rating. we need to check that which one is maximum. Is it possible that our candies we give to the current children, that means say this person rating is greater than the person on his right? So is it any way possible that the number of chocolates we candies we give to this person is already greater than the person on the right? This may happen, right? Say you have an array something like this, say 3 and then you got 4, okay, 3, then you got 4, and then you got say 5, okay, and then you got 0, and then you got 1. Fine. And in the initial case, you just give them 1 chocolate, 2 chocolate, 3 chocolate, and then give them 1 chocolate and 2 chocolate, right? In the reverse case, you give them 2 chocolate, you give them him 1 chocolate only, and then you find that this particular person of rating 5 is like having 3 chocolates, but is it actually necessary to give him 1 more chocolate? See, he's having more chocolates than his neighbors. Like 3 plus 1 is also like giving 1 more chocolate is already more than his neighbors. Neighbor on the right is having 1 chocolate. Okay, so there's no need. You can give like 3 chocolates only. There's no need to add more chocolates to that person. Okay, so that's the way we need to check. We need to keep a check for that. The check being we are checking which one is maximum. If we add 1 more chocolate to the person on the right, the person on the right is having 1 chocolate. Okay, and we add 1 more chocolate to it, is like 2 chocolate, having 2 chocolate. Is it which one is maximum for us? Is it like the current number of chocolates, the current number of candies he is having is already maximum, or we add 1 to the person on the right, like give 1 more chocolate than the person on the right, that's giving us the maximum. So that's the idea behind this question, like this over here. That's why we just calculating for the max, and then we are coming up to like answer plus candies. Then once we have placed the correct number of candies at the correct position, so at this position now we are checked with the left hand side in the initially, and then we have checked the right hand side at this also. So now we can add this values to our final answer. Like that's the number of candies we have to give that person. Okay, till now. So after that, when we are done looping through the whole like all the children, then we just return our final answer. The final answer thing, the answer variable is started with. So I think it's pretty understandable to how you can think of questions like this and how you can break through the question. The main idea is you shouldn't look for both the neighbors at the same time. You should look for only the left hand and the right hand, because if you look for both the neighbors at the same time, you may become it may become confusion for us for you as well. Okay, so that's the idea behind this question, and then I hope I can make you understand how this question works. Also, you can find this question question and this particular solution in the description as well. So that's all about this video, guys. So make sure you just like the video as it motivates me to make more videos like this, and comment down if you haven't understand anything of this explanation. I will be happy to help you out with that as well. Or moving ahead, if you have any questions or anything, just post them down. So thank you all for watching this video. Hope to see you soon in my next video as well. Thank you.